I thought it was a really excellent debate. Certainly, Delegate Cline had more minutes to say. I thought that Ms. Lewis was certainly on point and had a lot of quality things to say. So I'm going to let the voters decide that on November 6th. I'm not weighing in on that decision.
A sixth congressional district candidate debate was held today at Spotswood High School. Democrat Jennifer Lewis and Republican 24th District Delegate Ben Cline faced off on a variety of topics. 4 students served as panelists, and Spotswood High debate coach Emmett Shahan served as the moderator.
I thought the candidates did a great job, both of them, giving pointed answers to the questions. They really didn't circle around the issues. They went right to the meat of it, and they had some tangible evidence or tangible things that they've worked on in the past that demonstrate that they have the leadership to bring forward to Congress. So I was really excited that they, instead of just talking platitudes, they had some real specifics for it and some genuine information that was relatable to the audience as a whole.
Senior citizens who have worked their entire lives paying into our Social Security now count on that system to provide for themselves. As future members of Congress, what are your plans to ensure Social Security remains solvent? And how will you and your solutions to our Social Security obligation affect younger generations' chance of receiving Social Security benefits when they retire?
As a congresswoman, I would never support any cuts to Social Security at all. It's something that you've all paid into, and I will do everything I can do to protect it.
I think that we can reform Social Security for future generations, not for current generations.
What is your position on the minimum wage hike, and how do you propose alleviating the economic hardship experienced by the working poor?
Virginia is one of the top states in which to work, live, and raise a family, to run a small business, to work in a small business. We are blessed. We have been number 1. We're now number 4. And we need to get back to number 1. But that's the result of hard work at the state level, maintaining policies like low levels of taxation, low levels of regulation, and making sure that we leave it to businesses working with their employees to determine how much someone is paid, what their hourly wage is.
Lewis used a personal testimony to respond.
I support making sure that our workers have the dignified wage that makes sure that they have the stability and security that all workers deserve. And the reason I'm so passionate about minimum wage is I've been there. I've worked so many minimum wage jobs in my life, I can't even keep track anymore. And it's just appalling to think that we expect someone to be living on $7.25 an hour. And most people, when they think of minimum wage, think it's somebody, in a high school working at McDonald's earning minimum wage. That's not true. The average person making minimum wage is somebody in their mid-30s with 1 dependent. That's your average person working minimum wage. So it's about time that our workers get paid a living wage.
Can you briefly summarize the type of immigration reform you would support or be willing to support? And do you support building of a more expansive wall on our southern border?
Our immigration system right now in this country is not working. The idea of a secure border is non-existent. Right now, we have a problem, most definitely on our southern border, but regardless of where it is, we need to make sure that we secure our borders for the future of our country. When it comes to immigration, I do support building a wall. I think that is a critical component of securing the border.
So I personally find it offensive that when we talk about the border, we only mention the southern border. I find that personally very offensive. So I do not support building a wall anywhere. And I support protecting and expanding DACA, DAPA, and TPS. I do not support family separations at the border. I think it's one of the worst things that we've seen in the current day, that we've separated children at our borders. And children that are still separated to this day, while we're sitting here at this debate, there are still families who have been separated. So while we want to have a discussion about building a wall, The discussion should be reuniting these families together and making sure that we have humane.
I caught up with the candidates following the debate. Both candidates received applause from the audience on various issues. I asked Lewis about the show of support.
Well, it just validates the platform that I'm running on, and that people in the 6th District, that's what they want to hear. That's what they're concerned about, and I really believe that that's why people were excited, was that they were hearing solutions to their problems and solutions that they agreed with.
Cline says he agrees with President Donald Trump when it comes to the economy.
I believe that President Trump is creating a great economic environment. I do support his efforts to continue the economic growth that we're seeing. I do support his efforts to make sure that we reform our immigration system, and I want to make sure that we build the wall, to make sure that we construct a merit-based immigration program.
Lewis says she is willing to do what's best for the people, but finds it difficult to support the president.
Well, number one is that we need a Congress that will hold our president accountable and make sure that we rein in the kind of out of control governing that he's doing currently. I do not believe that we should be finding out about really important policy changes via Twitter. So I really think that we need a Congress that's going to make sure that the president is following the appropriate channels to change things, get things done, work on policy. Of course, that all needs to get done, but it needs to be done in the way that it was designed, that it was set up to get done. With the support of Congress, the president should not be able to just make these decisions kind of willy-nilly and then put a tweet out, and then now we're in facing a trade war with China. So we need to get back to what our government used to look like, which is people sitting down, having debates, having discussions in Congress, and going to the president, having those debates and discussions, and coming up with sensible policies in the appropriate way, again, not via Twitter.
I questioned Cline and Lewis about immigrant children being separated from their families due to Trump's immigration executive order, which was later rescinded.
I think that we need to, moving forward, make sure that all children are reunited with their parents immediately.
How would you?
Well, I think that we need to put more resources into INS to make sure that the children who are currently in the United States, that their parents are found. If they are still in custody in the United States in the process of being deported, if they've already been deported, then they can
Obviously, the Republican candidate, Ben Cline, is unaware INS, Immigration and Naturalization Services, was dissolved under President George W. Bush in 2003. It was replaced by USCIS, United States Citizenship Immigration Services, ICE, Immigration and Custom Enforcement, and CBP, Custom Border Protection. I asked Lewis the same question.
The way we've got to fix this is reuniting these children with their families. That's how we have to fix this. And then we have to move even forward more, with that, along with that, in having sensible, humane immigration reform. It is a shame, and I cannot, as a mental health worker, I cannot imagine the trauma that these children went through, even if they were not abused at these detention centers or cages and holding centers. Even if none of that happened, just being ripped out of your parents' arms is an extremely traumatic event for a child, and their brains are still developing, so they don't know how to comprehend what is happening right now. And when you are not able to make that attachment with your baby and when you're with your children and your parents, it forever impacts their relationship. Forever. Attachment is extremely important. So I don't know if folks who are watching this video saw the video that I watched where a young toddler was separated from their family. When they were separated for about a month and a half. When they reunited them, the baby did not remember their parents. And it was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen. Is you see this mother, she just wants to pick up her baby, and her baby's like, "Who are you?" And it was so heartbreaking to see this mom just burst into tears because she's like, "My baby forgot who I was." And that should not be happening in America, and especially happening to people who are just fleeing a dangerous situation, thinking that if they could get to America, they'd be safe. And that's what's really upsetting.
In Penn Laird, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.